Advanced Math Lesson 4. Today we do constructions. So according to your book, the ancient Greeks were the first to do geometric constructions. And we're doing these with just a compass and a straight edge. And literally they just had a straight edge, not with markings like our rulers, so no measuring things with that. So what else do I want to say about this? That's it. You're going to be using rulers. Don't use them to measure, only to help you make straight line segments. Even our modern compass has much more capability than theirs did, but we're using what we have. So we're going to be doing some very common constructions. They are useful for many things. We'll do some more advanced constructions later after you get the simple ones under your belt, and the more advanced ones are just doing a series of these more basic ones. In addition to that, if you're paying attention to what we're doing with this, it will help you when we're doing proofs, which we'll get to later. So I already did write the instructions out, so it should make this video a little bit shorter. You just pause it as needed to copy down the instructions, and I'll be demonstrating in the video how to actually do these things. So the first thing we're going to do is copy a line segment without measuring it in the normal way with a ruler. Okay, so we're given segment AB here, right here, and we're going to use a straight edge to draw a segment that is clearly longer just by eyeballing it. Okay, so I'm going to go down here, and there's my segment. I'm going to pause you for just a moment because I forgot a very, very important public service announcement. Okay, here it is. It's more paper. Whenever you're using a compass, they're very, very pointy and will poke through your paper, and you don't want to damage whatever surface is under the paper that you're writing on. So you either want to have some cardboard, maybe a spiral notebook, or just, here's a stack of scrap paper that I had. I'm going to be placing under here so that when I am using my compass, I'm not scratching the desk that's underneath my paper. Okay, so I drew, step one, used a straight edge, drew a segment that is clearly longer than the one I started with. Now, I'm going to take my compass and place one end at point A and the other end at point B. And then, okay, so let me just show you that. Okay, put the point on A, there. Pencil on B, right there. Try to get my hand out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to, without moving that around, keep it the same radius, the same size here. I put the point on one end of this segment that I drew that was clearly longer, and then make a little arc over there. This will be the same length, because again, I kept the radius the same, so the point was going to be at X, so I'm putting the X there. Here's my Y. Segment XY would be, and this is where you could, I'm just getting rid of that part, because again, XY is my segment. You could at this part, just to check it, measure and see how close you got, but no measuring to do the constructions. Okay, we just copied a segment. Now we're going to copy an angle. So here's the one we're given. Step one, use a straight edge to draw segment XY. It's just going to be like AC. Okay, so I'll put that here. Okay, there's my segment. Now, put the compass on point A, that means the point. Putting the point of the compass on point A, and drawing an arc. It has to go through the rays of the angle, so keep it small enough that you can do that. Okay, there's my arc. Now I put the compass at point X, so I'm going to make X over here. I'll try not to do that anymore. Points here, make an arc, keep this the same, put the point on one end of your segment here, and make an arc. Make it a nice big arc. Okay. Did that. That was step 3. Put the ends of the compass on M and N. Okay, so here are M and N. They're the points at which the arc intersects those rays. So I'm putting the point on N and the pencil on M. Okay, that's just to kind of measure that with this. We're not measuring with the rulers. Then we take the point, put it here, make an arc through that big arc. Okay, so your directions say put the point of the compass on Z, so this will be Z. And we make an arc through that first arc. Then we take our straight edge, connect, I forgot to label X, okay, connect X to this point right here. And I've copied that angle. I could go grab a protractor and measure and see how close I got, but that was copying the angle. All right, to bisect an angle, move this. Okay, everything's on the screen. To bisect an angle, we take our compass, put that on point A, and we make an arc through both rays like we did in the other one of our steps. Okay, so make an arc. All right, then it says put the compass on point X, so I'm going to call that point there where they intersect X, and I'm going to call this one Y. So I'm putting the point on X, right there where they intersected. Okay, and I'm making an arc out here. And then keeping this the same radius, I didn't make it extended anymore or anything from when I had it on X. Now I put it on Y, and I make an arc through that arc. And then it's kind of made an X. We connect this intersection point to point A. And if I did this carefully, and I have a good compass that doesn't wiggle around, then I can take a protractor and measure this angle and that angle, and they should be the same, because that was bisecting angle BAC. All right, there's more. Get my other paper here. Okay, bisecting a line segment. Here's my line segment, AB. Now, there's a note. Be sure to adjust your compass when you're starting this one so that your radius from point to pencil here is longer than halfway across this, like clearly longer. That looks like it might be about the midpoint, maybe not even quite, so I'm going to make that longer. See, spread it out. It needs to also fit on my paper when I make my arc. That'll work. It's getting close. Okay? It needs to be definitely longer than halfway across that segment, or the arcs won't meet when you do this construction. You just have to start over. Okay, so we did that. Now, put the compass on A. Alright, so the point's on, it's hard to get right without getting my hands in the way. Okay, so the point's on A, and I'm going to make an arc above and below the segment. Some people prefer to just do a whole half circle. I've had students that do that, but to me it just gets very busy. Then, without adjusting this, keep it the same radius. We repeat for point B. So put it on B, and put an arc through each of those arcs you just made. And then you connect the intersection points using your straight edge. So from here down to there, we connect these. And if I did a good job with that, this actually it didn't just make a bisector, it made a perpendicular bisector. If I took a protractor, I hopefully would find that was 90 degrees. And measuring this segment and that segment, they should be congruent to each other. Okay, so split that in half and made a perpendicular. All right, so next part says erecting perpendiculars through a specific point. This one was through the midpoint. Here we have to make it through point P. Okay, so it's using what we did for perpendicular bisectors, but we have to start it differently. Okay, so we're going to do this twice, once when P is on the line and once when it's not on the line. You can do it either way. So first step, put the compass on point P, and we're going to draw two arcs on the segment. So because this is so close to the end, I have to make that tiny so I can get on the segment. All right, so I do an arc here and on the other side of P on the segment. There. Okay. Now, it says, after I've done that, bisect MN. So the thing we just did, the construction we just did, we do now only MN. That means these little arcs that made points MN. So now, P is the midpoint of MN, because I have the same radius here and here. So when I do a perpendicular bisector, it'll make a perpendicular right through point P. So the same steps we just did, we'll do again, which means now I'm extending this a little because it needs to be longer than from M to P. Put the point on M. Okay, swing an arc above. And below. And then go on N. And do an arc above and below. Almost didn't cross. And then connect this to that, and if all went well, it'll go right through point P. Mine's a little crooked. Oh, I was off a little down here. So if that ever happens, like, don't spend a lot of extra time on these. And some of the, if your compass is hard to keep exactly where you put it, then try to get where that actually crossed. I'll be understanding of that for grading. Just all the arcs, like I just erased that, so I should have gone through the process again, because all the arcs that are supposed to be there, I need to be able to see. So let's see, this was, yep, that hasn't moved, so put that on N again. So I'm just going to put this back. I'm still off. That's why that looks crooked. I'm not taking more time in the video for that. But that's your process. I'll try to do better on the next one. So we do this again. We put the point of the compass on P, and it needs to be the right length that we can get two arcs onto that segment. Okay, so I have one on that side. And one on that side. I know my hand's been in the way. There they are. Move this up a little more. And then that would be our points M and N. Is where it intersected the segment. And then I extended that a little. put the point here on M and go above and below. Put it on N. And go above and below. I have a feeling when I tried to make sure that stuck at the end that I was worried that I changed my radius a little, but I think it's okay. Then here, here, that's better. Okay. Just eyeballing it, it looks better. But again, I should be able to measure that. I should be at least close to 90 degrees because it's supposed to be perpendicular. And that would be the midpoint of MN. It goes right through P like it was supposed to. Okay, so constructing of triangles, I'm going to put my triangle over here in this space. Do this. That might be a little too far. Okay. So, copy one of the segments, and I recommend the longest one just so you're not running out of room or running into another problem. So, copy a segment. That was the first thing we did. I'm making just a long segment here, and then I'll mark off the length of EF on that. So, I'm putting the point there and the pencil there, okay? And then I put the point here and the pencil there, make a little arc. That's the length of EF. Okay. I'm just going to label these the same. That's where I put EF. Okay, so from one end, draw an arc whose radius is AB. So then I need to get the length of AB from my compass. Okay, there's AB. And I'm supposed to draw for that from one end. I'm going to put that from E. Okay. So that's here. I don't know exactly where it needs to end, so I'm making that one pretty big. Then I still have to do CD. Okay, so there's C, there's D. Do this from the other end. Put that right there at F. Put it through there. And then that intersection point connects to both ends of EF. And that will be my triangle that has those three side lengths. Here's my intersection point. Going to E. And here we are. Going to F. I missed a little, sorry. I was trying not to get in the way of the camera. Didn't exactly work. Make sure you actually make a triangle. Okay, just in case you didn't see 3 very well, I'll move that up. Okay, so we copied one of the segments. I recommend starting with the longest, but you don't have to. And then you measure off one of the other ones using your compass. Put the point on one of the ends, make a nice big arc. Then measure off the third one using your compass, put the point on the other end, put an arc through the first arc, and then just connect. Intersection point to F, intersection point to E. And that's that. Okay, on the back. First we're constructing parallels. Okay. And it has to be through point P, parallel to this line. So the first thing we do is use our straight edge to draw a line that goes through point P and the line. Okay, so like that. All right, now we're supposed to copy PQR at point P. Okay, so we'll go back to copying an angle, get to practice that again. The reason we're going to do this is if we end up here with an angle congruent to this one, these will be corresponding angles. And if they're congruent, then we know the lines are parallel. That's something you've been working with for a long time. Parallel lines, transversals, corresponding angles are congruent. It also works backwards. And so we use that fact to do this construction. All right, so to copy an angle, we need to put the point here. I know I'm in the way. There we go. So I'm putting the point there, make an arc through both rays of angle PQR, and then I go up here to point P, and I make a nice big arc with the same radius. And I see I didn't make my line through P long enough, or I should have made the arc shorter. See? I'm just going to extend my line. Okay. So now we have this. And then I put the point here and the pencil down here where the arc crosses QR. That's the radius I need. Then I put the point up here where the arc crosses that segment. Make a little arc. Then I connect this intersection point through point P. And if I did a good job, then it should be parallel to this one. That looks pretty close from here. Let's see what it looks like when I take the ruler away. There. That would be supposed to be a parallel line. That's the construction. All right, you just draw a line that goes through P and this line. Copy the angle. That line should be parallel to that. One left. Equal segments. Okay, so we could divide segment AB into pretty much any number of congruent segments. We're going to do 3 just for purposes of our example. It could be 4, it could be 5, whatever. And the steps are over here. Make sure that's all on screen. Okay, so we're going to do 3. First step, it says draw ray AP at a convenient angle to AB. So in the 40-50 degree kind of range, like you're going to measure it, but just a nice, not like this necessarily, but a nice big angle, nothing real skinny, so it's easier to work with. Okay, so here's A, and I go down here. Okay, so this is AP. There's P. Ray AP. There. Now I use the compass to mark off 3 congruent segments on that ray. So don't make it so big you're not going to get 3 out of it, but not so tiny that it's kind of hard to work with. Okay, so 1, that'll work. Okay, so there's 1, and then I put the point on there. There's 2, and then I put the point on there, and there's 3. Don't worry about the extra. Okay, I have my 3 arcs. Now, this one's going to be C. Okay. I didn't write a whole sentence here. I like even my version of a whole sentence. I connect point C to point B using the straight edge. Okay, C to B. So we made a triangle. All right, now, so we used the compass to mark off the 3 segments. We did point C to point B. Okay. And then I'm calling these intersection points D and E. Okay, so we construct line segments parallel to BC at D and E, which means we're copying angles. Okay, because we just constructed parallels. We have our line. Now to copy the angle. Okay, I'm going to go like this. Also put my point on D, keep that same radius. And then also on E, again, keeping that same radius. Make them big enough that your other arcs you're going to do will definitely hit. So you don't have to come back and try to retrace your steps. Okay, then I place, okay good, you can see C down there. I'm going to move this up a little bit though. All right, so now I'm putting, it'll be easier if I go here because my point's going to be there. Putting the point here where that arc intersects AC, and also here where it intersects BC. Okay, so get this the right length. Put the point here where this arc intersects the line. Make an arc through, it seemed like it wiggled. No, it didn't. Okay. Make an arc through that arc. I'm sorry I keep getting in the way. It just works better if you're holding this perpendicular or close to it to the paper, and then I'm getting in your way. Then putting the point here and putting an arc through that arc. Okay. Then you see how down here we went from one of the little arcs on the segment up through there. So now we're going from this little arc on the segment through this intersection point. Make sure it goes all the way up through to AB. Okay, and then from E here through this intersection point. And there we go. 1, 2, 3. I could measure those with my ruler. Hopefully they would be the same length. They look pretty good. But again, don't worry as you're getting used to these, like it might not go so well at first, or maybe your compass doesn't want to stay where you put it sometimes. As long as I need to see all the arcs, don't erase any of those. I need to see that you did the process correctly. You definitely have to show your work for these. But that's all there is to these constructions. You'll get to practice these basic ones and then eventually put them together to do more fun things. And I hope you really do enjoy these. I think you will.